Live from Kern County, Maconi Entertainment brings you coverage of the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series. 2 weeks of dramatic, action-packed alphabet soup sprint car racing. We'll hit 2 very different tracks and 2 very different cars over the next 2 weeks. This week we're taking on the Winged 410s at Kern County Raceway. Tight, technical, tricky, and an absolute slugfest all the way up. We have world champions of dirt racing from iRacing here today. We have one of the most competitive fields I've ever seen in a race I've broadcasted. And I'm Howie Burrows alongside Ron Mons to bring you the action today. Ron, only a minute in qualifying before we begin a rapid ascent up through the heats. How scared are you of what we're going to see out on this track?
I'm more scared than the drivers. I think these drivers probably a little bit nervous heading off into this race. You know, running the 410s at this very small track. You can just see it on the screen right now with how close quarters this racetrack is. I can't even say it's like a bull in a china shop. It's like a nuclear bomb inside of a library. Let's see how these racers are going to tackle this challenge tonight. I have a feeling it's going to be a tough road ahead for these racers all throughout this evening's action. I'm certainly looking forward to it, but I don't have nearly as much stress in my veins as these racers probably do on one of their single fingers.
Got quite a long format up for you here tonight. Plenty of racing to catch. We're going to have up to 6 heats, followed by a D main, C main, B main, and our grand final A main. Who makes it where? Who starts where? We're going to begin by going through our heat in order to work this one out. 22 drivers have signed up. We're just getting final confirmation on the number of drivers in that will make each round. But I'll tell you, we have a grid for our first heat race already. I'll fix that towel next time around. Logan Rumsey starts on pole. Casey Simons in second. Adam Elby in third. And Jacob Denny in fourth. Braden A. Taylor sits in fifth ahead of Carmen Barrico. Ahead of Yacey Bleasley and Brandon Steele to make 8 cars on the grid. Top 3 will advance straight to the feature race here today. And we're only going to have 8 laps to really prove it in. Quite a tight grid. Cautions could come out of plenty. We don't expect the cautions laps to count when this happens. This will be our first chance to see 8 cars really fly around this track, Ron. There's going to be a lot to take in all at once. But this asymmetrical circuit here in Southern California is certainly one that tests drivers' abilities to get under others, find the right line in very, very little time indeed.
Yeah, it's going to be a test of these racers' skill and their nerve all throughout this as well. It's going to be terrifying, I think is the best way to describe it. It's going to be a nuts night of racing action, set to get all up and rolling in just a couple of moments' time, waiting to get this formation lap underway, which it is now, and we can think about the racing action that will come tonight here on Maconi Entertainment. Already had some pretty good action a little bit earlier on today with Jeff Maconi's ARCA Boot Camp at Kansas. Much different style of racing, though, here at Kern. I'm looking forward to it.
Leader can fire in the middle of turn 3 as we wrap up our pace laps around this fast and furious oval. Not symmetrical on both sides. Turn 1 could be a unique scramble in itself. It's Logan Rumsey on the front next to Casey Simons. And Logan's going to hold his launch. Holding it. And here comes turn 3 to mark the beginning of what's going to be a very rapid fire evening. We're going to have 3 heats in total with the number of drivers we have, and we get green on the first one now. Logan Rummy off to a good start, but he holds up the high side. That's Adam Elby down on the bottom, and a little bit of contact already. That's Carmen Vericchio. He's lost his wing. He's down and out of this race. We take a green. Logan Rumsey runs away, but the rest is an absolute tangle in the middle.
Yeah, look at these racers sliding and squabbling and making contact. Huge moment down into 3 and 4. Up on the walls, Casey Simons. He tries to keep that car back up and rolling. Out there on the racetrack still, albeit now down in P5. Logan Rumsey sets a quick lap. He holds on to the race lead. Quick time for the 41. Meanwhile, farther behind him, Adam Elby and Brandon Taylor involved in the battle. Those two holding on to the final transfer spots right now, but Taylor spins out of it.
More and more drivers seem to be losing this out through attrition. Top 3 due to make it into the next race, and I think much of it's been locked in, and Casey Simons is going to have to make a real charge to get anything done here. Logan Rumsey and Adam Elby, both pro-licensed drivers. That means they've raced it very recently in the World of Outlaws Pro Series. Casey Simons trying to hold the bottom. Not seeing much momentum, the rest holding that cushion up there on the top, and it's not been too much slicking in on the track. You can see still a lot of heavy dirt packed down on that bottom, and Casey Simons has just a few laps to go now to try and get every last inch that he can. He's going to hold that bottom, he's going to keep it a little bit faster coming in, but I think he touches just a hump on the way in, and is only going to have 2 more turns to make that shot. I don't think he quite has momentum on exit every time he comes around. Jacob Denny's going to hold the high side, but this time I think Casey could have done it. It's going to be tight on the line. There's contact, but it's Jacob Denny that's going to cross the line and make our top 3.
Oh, and credit where credit is due to Casey Simons behind the wheel of that number 10 car. Gave it the old college try right towards the end of this race. But well done to Logan Rumsey winning that first heat race of the evening by 3 seconds nearly.
We are having a very quick turnaround for the heats. Only 3 of these. Top 3 to advance as expected from each. Landon Henry will begin on the front row next to Landon Cardoza on the second heat. Justin Stolz sits in P3 out of Terry Schmidt. Tanner Petit make it. Lines up in P5 next to Brian Cross. And on the back it's Landon Crawley in 7th. Oh, heat races, they sure never stop bringing the thunder. What did we learn out from that first race? Well, it sure was a scramble, but P1 very, very much enjoyed their lead. Didn't get too much from the bottom on that run, but the track's going to evolve throughout the heats, and we're going to slowly, I think, see more and more speed build up. It didn't quite work on that first race, but it could be a benefit of starting quite late in these heats.
And you know, with the nature of this track and how small it is, the dirt track here at Kern Raceway, only about 1/3 of a mile, so not a lot of room to work with for these racers. So a lot of them choosing to stick to that top side, but as this track evolves and slowly but surely rubbers in, you're going to have to start to see these racers get a bit experimental in the lines to run.
And drivers watching the other heats, of course, are going to also just keep an eye out on what's worked, what hasn't. Still have 1 more lap to green around here. Landon Henry has that place that was very much enjoyed by our Heat 1 winner. Seemed to be a fantastic getaway. It only got better when there was carnage further down the pack. But we're already seeing what you would describe, Ron, as haymakers getting thrown out to others, especially around that transfer spot. You have to do whatever you can. We're green again here at Kern. Landon Henry with the good launch again. Most drivers jumping straight up to the top. Except for Tanner Petit, who flies through the bottom and flies in for a potential P4. The P3, I'm seeing Justin Stolz having some problems with connections on the outside line. Now it's 2 up to the top and 2 down to the bottom. I think it's getting faster down there.
Yeah, you can see slowly but surely that bottom lane starting to get a bit more comfortable for these racers to run, as that top side slowly but surely gets a bit more uncomfortable as well. The 24 getting that moved on contact being made with himself on the 23, nearly ending in disaster. So Tanner Pettit holds on to that P4 spot for now, but he wants to jump up into that podium. He wants to jump up into that transfer spot as the 23 jumps up to the high side. The 24 gonna try and make it work to hold on to that time. You can see how much that momentum reels in, but that's a huge moment for the 24. He's going to drop down like a stone thrown into a pond, and through into P3 goes Tanner Pettit.
Tanner Pettit's having a worse and worse day, and that's about made it hit his worst. Contact after contact. That was Trey Schmidt having a bad day. A lot of contact. We already saw some on that jumper cam, and that final bit has just knocked Trey Schmidt out from a top 3 start into a back of the pack run and a run through the alphabet soup. Still fighting for better grip positions here inside this top 3. We're going to appreciate starting further up the grid in a much longer feature. Brian Cross, quite some distance for Tanner Pettit. That's a lapped car in the middle of, I believe that's Trey Schmidt up there in the middle. Up front, final lap. It's closer than it was last time. Landon Henry takes a bit of a contact with the 21 in the rear, but that's not going to change the finishing result.
And what a different result compared to that first heat race where it was about 3 seconds separating your P1 and P2 drivers. It's about 3 seconds separating the entirety of the top 5. Trey Schmidt and Justin Souls running into some difficulties throughout that with their incident. But here we go, already off into the third race of the day. It's going to be Ryan Avila starting from the pole. Rylan Gray alongside him on the front row. Row 2 going to be Blake Carrick alongside Brady Baker. And then looking right behind in P5 and P6, it's going to be Ryan Scheitz starting this race at P5 alongside Matthew Rogers. And then looking right behind, rounding at your field, is going to be Travis Oldfield in the number 38 car. Quick turnover for these races, keeping the action flying. And I'll tell you what, Howie, these cars starting to get a little bit quicker on that bottom lane as well. We saw in the first race of the day, that first race a couple of moments ago, it feels like not terribly long ago, that we got tonight's racing action up and rolling. That bottom lane was about as hostile as you could possibly get. Now, however, we're starting to see more and more racers become more and more comfortable with running it lower and lower around this racetrack. So as we get into the third race, this track far different than what it was earlier on. Let's see how that track evolution will continue to go on.
You can already see that lighter groove starting to form as the dirt gets kicked up into the middle, which is the kind of spot you never really want to be on any track of this description. That lighter groove did not exist just 2 races ago, but just a few cars running around will do that for you. Ryan Avila, favorite for this heat, 8KI rating, and another Pro Series driver. But plenty of unusual things can happen. We have the green flag ready, and away we launch. Ryan's fast off the line, but we're too wide, 2 rows the whole way back. Further down, Ryan and Gray and Blake Clarick, the first to go side by side and tangle, and that's a caution coming out as it seems as if Blake Clarick has just slowed it and stopped it there.
And the first yellow of the race here, well, the first yellow of the evening, I should say, certainly the first yellow of this race, as we take a look to see this bizarre moment, the field getting that green flag out. Contact being made already, again, shown the door in the early stages, but he was able to keep it rolling on that inside line, jumps up to the high side, gets a little bit wiggly, hits that curb on the inside, well, hits a berm on the inside, and just spins out and decides, you know what, I think I'm good.
Blake Clarick with just a little bit of oversteer. It just slowed him on the track in time for the caution, so not a tremendous incident that's going to completely take him out of this race. Timing and scoring doesn't really quite know how to deal with drivers under caution, but I'm sure if he hits the track again, I actually don't know if he has hit the track again. Looks like he may have retired straight out of this heat, leaving 3 drivers to remain. Although you'll just have to forgive what iRacing does to towers under these caution laps not counting. Of course, not counting, we're going to have a full 7 laps of racing with the top 3 advancing. Ryan Avila launches the field single file. Rylan Gray already looking a little bit low on the green. Ryan Scheitz also almost stuck his way out of line. This time, Gray has a much faster launch on the back of Avila, and looks like it could really come to challenge in the latter stages of this race. Brady Baker is the 3rd driver in the transfer spot right now. He's holding it up high, holding up the pack as well as Rylan Gray chases down Ryan Avila. Still running high except for Avila, who thinks he sees something different in the middle of this track, maybe a cleaner, easier way to run right now up front.
Yeah, these racers looking to try and find that dirt wherever they can. You can see they're having to run a dangerous game on the high side, rip the wall, rip the top side, and try and get a little bit of dirt on those tires. And you can see sometimes it works out badly. If you tap that wall, you are going to lose out on a heck of a lot of momentum. Dirt sprint car racing is a game of momentum. You got to keep it rolling all around this short racetrack, and in these short races, you can't afford to have any sort of trip up, as I think this battle for third really got heat up with a huge moment there as the 06 briefly lost his wing, got that spot again, but Brady Baker really starting to throw haymakers in this battle for the final 2 transfer spots.
Flies past on the back straight. Both of these drivers are due to qualify, but you're going to get a better placement up the road if you claim this 2nd place over the 3rd. A little bit of wheel contact. Brady Baker sends him up high. Rylan Gray not able to make momentum on time. That makes your top 3 Avila, Baker, and Gray, and that will be your final heat of the day, meaning we get to play the glorious alphabet soup progression game. 5-minute warm-up in place before we begin with the next race. So we've got a bit of a track reset, and now drivers are going to be running some laps out there on the track. Every race had a bit of a different character. We certainly saw some drivers absolutely stand out.
Yeah, that we certainly did. Certainly Logan Rumsey in that first race, winning by 3 seconds as the drama broke out behind. That was a very good performance, very good racer. Very good racers all throughout this field as well. They're going to try and have a good show for us here tonight, and you can see him trying to find any way in the book to make that speed up here at this track. You know, with a short track, you're going to expect some short tempers, but you're also going to start to see these racers have a whole lot of experimentation going on as well. As there you can see the contact thing down into 3 and 4. I was kind of expecting that. Thankfully, these holy cow, you can see that car tumbling. Thankfully, though, they don't have to worry about the pit stops in these races. If you're making the call to come down pit lane, I think you've got bigger issues than just having to worry about getting onto the track safely. But you can see these racers trying to find any way in the book to make up some speed. Sometimes it ends in disaster, other times it ends smooth. But this is going to be a very tough race for these competitors. We already talked about in the early stages. We even talked about before the broadcast went live, frankly. This is an asymmetric course, this, and a very short one at that, 0.33 of a mile. And that infield track that you see right there, the dirt mini oval, I think it holds a distinction on iRacing as being the shortest track on the platform by a significant margin at only, I think, about 1/8 of a mile long. This is a short facility. These are short laps, and with all that, you can expect these races to go by in the blink of an eye. So make sure you can keep yourself on the good stuff, keep on a good momentum for these races as well. If you could just keep that car clean, keep yourself clean, and make sure you avoid the drama like the plague, you could very well come out of this race and come out of this event smelling like a bed of roses.
8 drivers already locked into our feature race. I believe these to be Logan Rumsey, Casey Simons, Adam Elby, Jacob Denny, Braden Taylor, Carmen Bariccio, Yancey Beasley, and Brandon Steele. That's what iRacing tells me. Although, quite frankly, you never quite know what it's going to do. Now we have, of course, our Alphabet Soup rounds. Those who didn't make it into the feature are going to get the chance to qualify their whole way up. A D main, C main, and B main. We increase the length on each of these. I'm keeping an eye on this. It looks as if iRacing is sort of skipping sessions around. I'm not actually sure if it's removed these from the schedule entirely. It says on my side, D main skipped, C main skipped, B main skipped. We'll have to keep an eye on which session actually comes up next. I think they are doing a warm-up just for the feature with the number of drivers we have on the grid. 21 sign-ups made it here today. $100 prize to the winner, 75 for second. It goes all the way down the top 425 per row, but there is plenty to play for, and that might make some of this racing just a little bit on the more physical side. We're seeing some drivers already show examples of that physical driving out on the track as it goes. And plenty of world champions here who already know that they're among the best at what they do. Our feature will be a big one. Those were short races. We're going to have a 35-lap showdown. 35 minutes of green flag racing as well, in case the cautions jump in our way. Minute left in warm-up. I'm just trying to keep an eye on this session format. I think we might actually be skipping some of these Alphabet Soup mains. We might go straight into the feature. I'm trying to get a starting grid just in case. I can't even get that. iRacing isn't giving me a great day today. What can I say?
Yeah, iRacing is not a fan of you today. I don't know what to tell you, Howie. It's I can't necessarily judge. I remember one time I made a joke about iRacing's weather forecasting system being true to real life because it's about as inaccurate as real life weather forecasts. And then as I said that, my iRacing didn't work right for a couple of weeks straight, which I'm certainly keeping my fingers crossed that doesn't happen again because. You know, with the amount of shows that I've done up to this point this year, and the amount of schedules the amount of shows I have in my upcoming schedule, I don't think that would be a very good event. And plus, now that I'm doing production work of my own, I think iRacing crashing on me would not be a very festive situation. I can assure you that much. So, Howie, I guess we both have our own moments of iRacing saying, "Ha, no."
Well, rule number one. Rule number one is you don't tell iRacing that you're expecting lots of it, and then hopefully it won't interfere and get in your way. Getting final confirmation of the session that's up on the way now. We are jumping straight into our feature race. Bit of a compressed day today. Here's what I believe our starting grid is due to be. Logan Rumsey lines up in P1 next to Landon Henry in P2. Ryan Avila is in third next to Adam Elby. Landon Cardoza is fifth ahead of Brady Baker in sixth. Jacob Denny is in seventh ahead of Tanner Petit. And Rylan Gray ninth next to Casey Simons.
And then looking through the rest of the top 10, it's, looking through the drivers outside the top 10, I should say, it's Brian Cross alongside Ryan Scheidt. Looking right behind on row number 7, it'll be Yancey Beasley alongside Landon Crawley. Looking right behind on your 8th row, it'll be Matthew Rogers alongside Braden A. Taylor. And then looking right behind in P17 and P18, it'll be Trey Schmidt alongside Travis Oldfield. And then rounding out our top 20 for this race, Howie, will be Cameron Barchio and Justin Stoll.
Two more cars on the back of the row. It's Brake, Carlick, and Brandon Steele. That means every single driver that did race has made it in. iRacing only gave us news of this at the very last second, so we apologize for any disruption. But now, 35 laps of racing. Now it gets hard and it gets challenging. Plenty of our pro-rated drivers up at the top. 4 of them in the top 5. Landon Henry, the only driver without a pro license, sitting on this front row. Drivers from all around the skill spectrum, including some that I think raced well but got unfortunate near the back. That 23 of Justin Stolz. I'll be looking out to see how high he can climb. He was very fast before misfortune struck him. But now this race is going to be just a little bit less sprint-like and just a little bit more pedal to the metal, and every gap's going to matter. $100 to the winner. You wouldn't turn that down. What would you do for it? Time to find out as we get these cars rolling, and we go green for our feature race here at Kern. And Logan Rumsey runs away from the field ahead of Landon Henry and Ryan Avila. I have some problems with my timing software right now. I believe there was a bit of a slowdown around turn 3, but no big wreck, just some big checkups in the field. Drivers going 3 to 4 wide the whole way around. Up front, still Logan Rumsey holding the front, but Ryan Avila's the fastest. And behind, it's really where the tangle begins for these drivers.
Yeah, in that mid-pack with the drama, the hornet's nest of sprint cars. Who's going to be able to come out of this clean? Who's going to have to worry about any sort of incidents taking place? Already 4 coming to 5 laps in to this 35-lap-long feature race. Rumsey trying to extend that gap to himself and Ryan Avila. Meanwhile, a little bit farther behind, it is pandemonium with racers kicking dirt and dust up into the air and trying to find any way to run around this racetrack as we have a yellow.
Do have a yellow. It might be Yancey Beasley having just towed the car. I'm going to have to try and find that one out, though, and try not to look at the timing tower while it all goes wrong in this. Oh, that's the big wreck. Let's go back just a couple seconds more. This happened on the start-finish straight, if I'm not incorrect. I think that's quite a few cars on the way, side by side in the back. The 38, 26, and 11 involved. It actually first begins that car that came right off the wall, lost his wing, and that was the beginning of the end for quite a few. Single file restarts lining up on the grid. And these resets are probably going to be the best opportunity for a lot of drivers that didn't get the starts of their lives.
Yeah, very good opportunity to kind of dust themselves off and put the nose back to the grindstone and try and get a good race going for them.
The field running around. I think Logan Rumsey is the one due to take the green flag. Single file on the outside line. He's going to take a bit of a dip down onto the inside as we are now green again. Logan Rumsey leads over Ryan Avila. Adam Elby up in P3, and it's that 24 Tanner Petit. Almost tried to get his nose up on the inside for now, but the track has largely been neutralized in terms of its dirt effect, and you can kind of just see how everybody's seeing one of only 2 spots on the track right now That lighter line has not opened up for the drivers yet. There's a lot of single file throughout the pack on Bob Atlantic Cardoza right now as he makes a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact with Tanner Pettit, trying to get everything he can up to the inside. Still doesn't have the momentum to clear quite yet.
You know, this is already a bad word to say in reference to most short tracks, but real estate is a big problem here tonight. You've got these racers trying to find any way in the book to get past each other. This track is a small one, so it's quick laps, quick times that they're setting, and quick speeds in the grand scheme of things as well. But it's also a small track, and look at the turns. Look at the amount of runoff these racers have. You compare it to a track like Knoxville, for instance, where it feels like you have all the real estate space in the world to run around there. Even a track like USA International Speedway, frankly, has more space than this. But as we look, Logan Rumsey and Ryan Avila starting to duke that side by side for the race lead.
Avila's been trying to make this bottom line work for quite some time, and Rumsey's not felt the need to squeeze him down low. He's been quite happy running the way he is. Doesn't mean the momentum's quite there yet. You can see how even the track is on the exit of that turn. We've had not really getting slicker lines building up. You can see a small transition off that cushion, but the evolution is simply not what it was like out of the heats. They've built up this track very differently after the reset. Landon Cardoza also looking up the inside of Tanner Pettit for 4th place. Not making any purchase there quite yet, and I pointed out Justin Stolz, and I think I was right in doing so. He climbed all the way up to P9 as a result of that wreck, and I think might have more pace in him. Casey Simons, next car up ahead, tangling with Landon Henry, and I think that 23 could jump to the inside if a chance produces itself. It doesn't happen yet. You start these passes up front. We're doing the same duel as ever, and it's playing out much like it used to.
Is it same song, different dance, different song, same dance, or is it any sort of odd combination of them? We'll have to find out as we get closer and closer to the halfway mark of this race. Coming up to it in the not too far off future with Rumsey and Avila once again duking it out. Look at MLB right behind that number 74 driver. Gonna try and stick his nose in this battle as well. In case these two come to blows, he would be there to pick up the pieces, but Avila trying to hold on to that inside line as that high side continues to evolve. The track slowly but surely rubbers in. Well, I gotta wonder how exactly the grip is starting to shift around here. You can see this track much different than it was earlier on. Look at Avila really getting racy and risky and flirtatious with that outside retaining wall. Look at him. It's a matter of inches separating his right rear tire, I should say, my apologies, from that outside wall, but he's now cutting it down to the inside of Rumsey. Oh, as we have a yellow.
So I noticed, and I was muted for a second there as we were doing that, as Rumsey almost gets past the biller, just fails by the call of the yellow. Trying to work out where this one is, but it's always very, very hard with the number of passes happening on this track, and the data make it nearly impossible. It might be something to do with Justin Stolz on lap 20. Let's take a look. He recently just towed himself to the pits. Here's Stolz. I was calling him out for potentially being an asset earlier, and I think this might have marked the end of his race. And how does it end? Contact with the 10. Sends Stolz into the wall. That's an unfortunate contact, really, because there wasn't really all that much in it between the two, I think. That's the 10 car of Casey Simons, I believe. And it's just going to be a case of just not quite having the space you thought. No, comes off the wall into Stolz and takes both out of the race.
Yeah, you know, I think the best way I could describe that, it feels like another real estate issue, frankly. It's, yet again, this track being a small one, you don't have a lot of room to work with on the exit of these turns. That can hurt you quite badly, but we're about to get this race restarted with 15 laps left to go.
Green again, an observation that I made while I was muted is I've noticed the bottom of 3 and 4 is slicking up way faster than 1 and 2. Tanner Pettit now side-by-side contact for the 3rd place. That's 74 of Adam Elby on top and Landon Cardoza right behind. This is by far the most intense side-by-side. I noticed those drivers up front traded their spots on the track, trying to go high and low just a little bit differently. Now we're 3 wide down the back straight, and that 21 coming off the hump on the inside. Landon Cardozo's going to fly back, almost wrecking the field in the process. He's okay along the way. LB and Pettit, though, they're not done at all. We're slowly going to start finding out which lane is faster. Pettit cooks it a little bit too low on entry again. That's going to lead to more contact. Now Pettit's the one getting sent back, and Ryland Gray is going to be the one to send it free wide.
Oh, and look at these racers as we get a little bit farther along in this race, coming up to that checkered flag in about 10 laps time. You're going to start to see these racers begin to risk it for the biscuit, go 3 wide, make sure that they can gain any spots that they can, make hay while the sun is shining. I think it would probably be the best way to describe it. Who's going to be that first farmer to open up their eyes in the morning? Looking at the 24 and the 74 chasing each other's tails up the track. And look at Ryland Gray in that 06 car. He's going to try and think about a move. Will he be able to make it work with those two side by side? Bit of a cork in the bottle right now. It's forcing that 06 car to just remain in tow. He can't get a move done, and in all that's allowing Ryan Avila and Logan Rumsey to pull away. A half a second gap separate those two in P1 and P2. We'll have to see if that battle is going to evolve now that any sort of pressure that they had from behind has been shaken off like a bad case of the fleas.
Prizes on offer for the top 5, $100, so 75, 50, 25, and 10. So we are right in the bubble here, where you get to take a bigger payday based on how you run. Landon Cardozo also wants to get his nose in there. Ryland Gray now leading this group as Tanner Pettit definitely didn't lose touch, but certainly did slow down off the back. Not too many laps to go now. They really are just flying by. Should only be a minute on the track. Ryan Avila and Logan Rumsey have just checked out into the distance right now. Big enough of a gap that they won't be challenging each other. Ryland Gray holds up LB and Pettit. Look out for that 21 of Cardozo as well. This could be anyone's third position at the end of this. That middle of that track, though, by Ryland, I don't know if there's really pace there. Looks a little bit squirrely on exit, keeps it together. 24 of Pettit, now tangling with the 21 of Cardozo, who almost sends it in too deep. Slows down the two of them. Ryland Gray's going to enjoy now being able to run away, maybe secure that third position if we start running out of time. And Adam Elby, he wants that $15 bump.
Yeah, and let's see what these racers will be able to do with the sun setting from this first event of this series. It looks like Ryan Avila going to try and get the job done and get that win here today. Further behind, though, it is pure pandemonium with these racers throwing haymakers at each other still. The white flag in the air.
Ryan Avila's going to take this checkered flag easily, and just a little bit of contact is going to escalate in the back. There was already some between the 21 and 74, and that has suddenly changed up the results entirely. Tanner Pettit and Trey Schmidt's going to take the P5. There was just contact just a couple laps ago, and that very quickly spiraled out of control. Let's keep an eye on the replay. Some frustration on the chat about the way this race ended. It's in that 21 car and the 74 that was marked really get into the biggest problem around here. A little bit of movement and a little bit of contact becomes a real wreck out of this race. And Landon Cardozo here, 21, is going to be the driver to miss the cut. There's a little bit of a tap to unease him. That gives him the pace in order to go by. It's quite a good bump and run move, but it's all about to start going wrong. As now I think this might just be sent in retaliation coming into the inside the turn. That's going to wipe the two of them out. The 61's going to get caught as well. And around the outside comes Trey Schmidt, who benefits very freely from a battle turned physical at the end of that race. Let's get a look at our final race results there for our feature here at Kern. Ryan Avila finishes first ahead of Logan Rumsey and Ryland Gray. Tanner Pettit finishes fourth, and Trey Schmidt sneaks his way into fifth ahead of Landon Cardozo, Travis Oldfield, Landon Henry, Brandon Steele, and Matthew Rogers.
And looking right behind, we got Adam Elby class in P11, Jacob Denny in P12, Justin Stolz in 13th, Casey Simons in 14th, Ryan Scheit is class in P15 at the end of this race, and from Ryan Cross in 16th, Yancey Beasley is in P17, Brandon Taylor in P18, Landon Crawley will finish in 19th in front of Cameron Varchillo in P number 20, and then it will be Brady Baker and Blake Carrick rounding out your cars class at the end of this race. I don't believe Carrick took the start in that race as he's marked over 36 laps down. But those are your results at the end of a very dramatic and very exciting night of racing action here at Kern.
Just had a little bit of everything, even in a quick game, and let me tell you, I'm hearing some beef on the voice chat already. Thankfully for us in the booth, though, it all happened a little bit behind the top three that we're going to listen to today. So let's begin from back to front, I think, and first of all, talk to Logan Rumsey. Actually, that Logan Rumsey would be second, and that's no order to do things. Let's go with Rylan Gray. Rylan Gray, P3 on the line. Talk me through your day that may have been a little bit shorter than we expected out here, but still had plenty of good racing, and you were right in the center of a lot of that.
Yeah. First of all, I just got to thank all the guys on my new team, Precision Motorsports. This is our first big podium after making the team and establishing it last season. To run with these guys, this is my first ever race on this track with the new build on the wing cars. So it's really cool to already be just as quick as these pro guys and figuring out how to make these things fast. And yeah, it was a lot of cars around you. Everybody was kind of fighting for that middle line. So practicing today, I just kind of wanted to try to make a setup that could run a different line I can't follow the leader and still pass guys. So my goal is just to be able to make a different line work. And I was able to make that bottom work there at the end and get by Tanner and Landon. And I felt really solid all night.
Well, right after you got past them, I think pandemonium may have exploded, and that P3 was a little bit locked in for you, but getting around people on Kern, does it take a little bit of moving them out of place, or does it take just finding that right line at the right time? Because that track there certainly evolved very quickly.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to get that slick that fast. It's just definitely something with, I guess, Kern that big cars at a tiny track, and they're getting so sideways, and the straightaways are also so small that I guess it just can blow off really quick. But yeah, I honestly think a lot of real life experience helped me there. Just keeping the wheels loaded under me and not being able to spin them out too much. A lot of these guys in front of me were blowing the wheels loose and not being speed on the throttle, almost like a pavement car off the corner, and that was getting me a lot more drive than most of these guys were. And that's just I was just waiting on people to make mistakes to pass them.
Well, not only have you walked home with that third place prize, but you've beaten someone with double your 5K I rating. So you definitely want to take that well. Thanks for speaking. Is there any other thank yous or shout outs?
Yeah, just Aaron, Anthony, Kellen, James. Let's see here. Just everybody on the team, and Matthew, especially, he was here tonight running. Thank you to everybody. Yeah, for putting this up. Thank you to Brody for putting this up. It's good to be back with DSCSS, and we'll be back next weekend in the Nolling car.
Good to speak to you, and hope to see you on the track next week.
Yep, thank you.
Well, Ron, that makes two more drivers. I'll leave you with Logan Rumsey, our P2 finisher.
Yeah, and Logan Rumsey joining us now in the broadcast booth. Logan, welcome in. P2 for you at the end of this race here at Kern. Happy to talk us through this night of racing action that we just saw.
Yeah, man. The car was really, really good in qualifying and the heat race, and I was hoping they would leave the track or reset it or something. It just kind of got too slick for my setup. I was a little loose, and Ryan just. He was just a little bit better than me. Just got snookered by me there about halfway, and it took me too long to figure it back out. I was catching him at the end, but just ran out of laps.
Now, I want to ask you about some of the challenges of running in that race. We discussed this a little bit before the broadcast started, and certainly a lot of the broadcast was spent talking about it. I want to ask you about the dimensions of this track. A rather small track, this at only about a third of a mile, and the racing surface, not really a lot to work with. So, how was it just trying to keep that car within the confines of a very tight racetrack?
Yeah, it's definitely shaped and banked really weird. It's the racing groove is like really tight in spots, and it kind of opens up on the backstretch, but it's really hard to make moves. Ryan was just right behind me, and he couldn't really pass me there, and I mean he was just good enough to sneak by me, but it moved around, but it's just hard to put on a good show when we're going so slow. Like it just had no grip out there, but I feel like it was still a decent race in the feature.
Well, we certainly enjoyed it here in the broadcast booth, and fingers crossed that you enjoyed it out there on the racetrack. But Logan, we'll let you give any thanks or shout outs before we let you go and celebrate this P2.
Oh yes, thank everyone on my team, JD Brown, Adam Elvey, and James Edens for helping me out, spot me and stuff, and Brody for putting up the race. He hasn't done this in 4 years, so it used to be the series to run back in the day, so it's cool to bring it back.
And very happy that I've gotten the opportunity to be a part of this broadcast here tonight. And thank you as well for joining us here in the broadcast booth, Logan. Well done on the P2, and looking forward to seeing you out there on the racetrack, wherever it is in the not too far off future, man. Thank you for joining us, and well done the P2.
Yep, thank you.
Finally on board, we have Ryan Avila. Not too unfamiliar with winning, and you've gone ahead and done it. First time out on the revival of the Dirt Car Championship Series.
Yeah, it was a bittersweet track at the end there. Very difficult to pass, as I made it seem. Just ran behind him for 10 or 15 so laps, and made my move and got lucky with the yellow, and I eventually pulled away.
So we had a few complaints about the way that track evolved over the course of the race. Faster than usual, some would claim. Did that really play into your hand, or did you notice anything particularly unusual?
Usually us as a team, we're not so good in the slick, so we had tested just before that, and we were very fortunate to be fast there. Kind of just trying different lines. It moved up towards the middle right there and slowly moved back down, but if we had no warm-up there, I think that track would have been maybe 10 times better, but yeah, maybe it played in my hand because we're a little bit better in the slick, but I think we're just about even. Me and Rumsey's had great races there before, just always battling each other, and yeah, so maybe some grip would have been a little bit better, but yeah, just super good in the slick like that.
Next week, the lead takes the wingless to Hussett. Whether you're racing there or not, what can we expect from that week of racing?
Well, my only pro win came from Hussett, and that was with the wing on, so maybe we can go back to that track and try it without the wing. See what we can do there.
And before we wrap up the show, any other thank yous or shout outs?
Oh yeah, I gotta thank the league for putting this stuff back on. You guys for broadcasting, giving us a spot to showcase what we do, every day. Tanner Fedett Racing, Jimmy P. Mac Tools, 1425 Photography, Ethan Johnson over at Free Speed, Trackside Collective, Aces Up SimSport, just everyone that helps us. Yeah, looking forward to running this league again.
Looking forward to seeing you back out on the track there again. That was a good win and a good day.
Thank you.
I think I might have put him back into race control. Well, hopefully there won't be anything to complain about around there. That marks one very quick day on the track without the Alphabet Soup races, but still some great racing. And we're not done with this championship as we bring the non-wings to Hussett Speedway just the same time next week. Those cars are a different kind of scary.
Yeah, an absolutely different breed. It was actually the first dirt sprint car that I got. I bought the wingless and then the winged cars. I adore those wingless cars. They're a bit of a pain in the butt, but I say that with all due respect. They are absolutely fantastic. It's certainly a different challenge, a different racetrack as well, and really looking forward to seeing that action in 1 week's time when the series rocks up to Hussett here on Maconi Entertainment.
Dirt racing action is always intense, and this channel's only just getting started with it. This is the second league we've covered, and we've got more down the line as well, as we're covering the Aces Up series on the same channel. So subscribe on YouTube and ring that bell to keep an eye on everything we do in the future. It's been a quick day out on the track today, but I can't say it's not been thrilling. I've been Howie Burrows alongside Ron Mons. Thank you very, very much for watching here on Maconi Entertainment.